Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talos of Tech live on Twitch for not much longer. This is bittersweet. This is like almost kind of sad. I thought we'd go more into this live on Twitch because people on YouTube are probably going to be introduced to basically YouTube live streams regularly for the first time, and people are not super comfortable with that. And I hope you guys, I hope you Twitch fans know this was not an easy decision for me. This was not a painfully obvious one. This was not a, well, let's try something else. There was a whole lot of time and thought that went into this. And at the very top of my reasons, I had a big, extensive pros and cons list of switching to YouTube. And it was a tough one. I decided ultimately there was no way to please everyone. But at the very top of my list of cons of leaving Twitch was people like Expos One, people like That Name Is Taken, or Cyber Octoling, the Twitch Prime people who have been so committed for 30 months or 32 months, or people that have been tier 2 sub like DJ for years now. I cannot put into words how incredibly grateful I am for you guys and how thankful I am that you've chosen to support me over here. Yeah, there you go, YOLO Piop. Let's just spend an hour trying to change my mind. That'd be fascinating. Chris Norton, thank you for the 1,000 bits. There's so many things I love about Twitch that I still stand by. There's videos I've made in the past about why I prefer to live stream on Twitch, and there's DJ says he's at 35 months, sad for no more streak, but yes, for YouTube ease of use. Here's a few of the things I just thought I should bring up. I'm already feeling weird that there's probably going to be like 6 to 9 more Twitch streams before I officially leave. But this is the first time you guys are aware of the plan. You guys now know. This was on the table for a while. We were discussing this for a long time. Now, finally, you're all in the loop, and you're aware that we are going to be switching over to Twitch on August 1st. That's when, well, it's not, it's on a Sunday, so probably it'll be end up August 2nd or 3rd is when we're going to end up live streaming over on YouTube, and it won't be for an event. It won't be for a hype stream. It'll just be for content. And I have loved Twitch for the longest time. Before I even live streamed on Twitch, I would watch a channel called Prereq from Red Letter Media. They used to have a gaming channel. Sadly, they quit doing that, but that was what I watched the most on Twitch, and I made sure to Twitch Prime them as much as I could every single month. After 30 years, you end streaming on Twitch. Maybe. I don't know. This might be a horrible decision, and if you guys have been watching Talos of Tech for a long time, you know that I mix things up quite a bit. I change things around. I rearrange things. You know, for a long time, I used to upload Tesla videos on the tech channel, and there were people telling me, Drew, you should have a separate channel for EVs, and I said, nah, I don't think that's a good idea. I want to just, it counts as tech, so I'm going to keep putting those on tech. And then my mind was changed when I realized that the audiences were so different. I was like, you know what? Maybe it does make sense to have a separate EV channel. And you know what? That worked out really well. In hindsight, I wish I would have been doing it all along. For the longest time, I just kept assuming, no, I don't need another channel. I got too many channels as it is. EVs are technology. I watch tech channels that talk about Teslas and electric vehicles. So what's the big deal? I keep doing Teslas on the tech channel. Makes sense. They fit the demographic. So why bother? Well, turns out the audience demographics were so different that the EV channel found its whole own voice, to the point that there are tons and tons of people that have discovered Tailosive simply through the EV channel now that have never heard of Tailosive Tech, which was kind of like mind-blowing to me. And unfortunately, I cannot say the same thing about Twitch. You know, I cannot think of a bunch of people that were like, well, I discovered Tailosive Tech because he was live on Twitch someday. All right, stumbled upon his Twitch stream, and that's how I discovered him. Now, I'm pretty confident the majority of you guys found me on YouTube. And the truth is, my first live streams I ever did were actually directly on that channel. And there were a lot of people tuning into my live streams way back when I first started going live all the time. Yeah, I'm so sorry for the channel points that can't be. You'll have a few more streams to waste them if you want. A lot of people did find me on YouTube, and the fundamental thing that made me realize that this is probably the decision I'm going to have to go is that YouTube has optimized their platform for the viewer. The average consumer, the average content enjoyer, whatever term you want to call it, is much more comfortable donating on YouTube, for one. And there's also just far more people comfortable watching content on YouTube. The platform as a whole is substantially larger than Twitch. And Twitch is most certainly optimized for live streaming, but yeah, content enjoyer. I knew that would get a good emote. But YouTube has built their memberships, and they've built their super chat system in a way that it shows you the currency of the country you're in, and I think that makes people more comfortable with it. And Twitch, as I've gotten really used to it and comfortable with it, and I think they do a lot of things that are much more helpful on my end as the streamer, whether it be syncing the keys or not having to come up with a new video thumbnail every time I go live, and the bits system I think is in favor. But I think ultimately the average consumer doesn't want to have a separate wallet. You know, the average consumer doesn't want to like buy bits and have a certain number of bits that they hold on to for Twitch that they occasionally spend on streamers. I think it's easier for people to understand that, like, I'm going to donate $5, I'm going to get charged $5, and then a $5 super chat is going to show up. And YouTube does get a 30% cut of that, and Twitch does get a cut of bits too. I just think they're more obvious with it, and the chat and the emotes and kind of the whole platform being all around live content, I think steers some people away, as YouTube is a more common app for entertainment, for, you know, passing things by. And there's a lot of people live streaming on YouTube now, and yeah, some of us are not average consumers, but there's a simple fact that I've been plugging Twitch for years now. Matt K, thank you for the Twitch Prime for 34 months, so close to 3 years. Sorry for the Starlink lag. I'll wait for it to come back. Starlink is bumpy today. All of a sudden, it's been acting up again. But my Twitch page will not be deleted, for the record. You'll still be able to technically sub with Twitch Prime for the next couple months. By the end of this year, I'll probably officially unplug the monetization status of Twitch so that you can't even donate if you want to. But if you really do care about hitting Twitch Prime at 36 months, you will be able to. Are you doing a separate channel or the main channel for live streams? So I included that in the poll when people were asking. When I was asking, like, where do you guys want me to live stream? I live stream 2 to 3 times a week, and I really enjoy it. So where do you guys want me to stream? And the 3 options were stay on Twitch, stream to the main tech channel where most of my videos are uploaded, or stream to a separate YouTube channel that's not on the main channel. Surprisingly, most people wanted it on the main channel. By far, actually. Most people were not even voting. The other options were pretty low. It wasn't really neck and neck. So that kind of surprised me. And there were people instantly reaching out to me as soon as I made the announcement on Twitter. Thank you, DJ, for the bits. I do see those. Holy crap. How much? 450 bits. Wow. Thank you, DJ. And Chris Norton, thank you for the 300 bits. Oh, my goodness. Twitch is just not as mainstream as YouTube, even though it is optimized for live streaming. It's true. It's a smaller platform overall. And I think the other thing is Twitch is definitely more optimized for gaming, which is not what I'm doing. And I think Twitch is not quite as good at being a streaming platform for things like this, where I just do like 1 hour Q&As every couple days or so. And I'm watching a lot of content creators on YouTube that are doing regular live streams and edited videos. And there's a theory that's been running around for years now. I fell into it way back in 2018 as well. People were saying that essentially if you live stream on YouTube, it messes with your recommended. It messes with how the algorithm looks at your channel, and it'll stunt your growth. And I have not really seen a lot of evidence being the case anymore, especially with, well, I don't want to name all the channels, but there's several channels I've been watching that are streaming Warren Rydlick, Hyperchange, PewDiePie, Meet Kevin. There's all kinds of channels I've been discovering that live stream and upload videos regularly. And I could maybe understand if a few years ago the algorithm was confused and didn't realize that, you know, average view duration for a live stream is going to be longer than it's going to be longer or shorter than an edited video. But I think it's in YouTube's best interest to make people post content as much as possible. You know, if YouTube's goal is to have as many people watching on their platform, and you want people live streaming on your platform and uploading videos on your platform, the Studio app, the Studio page on the website separates uploads from live streams. They're like a completely different subsection. And I don't understand why YouTube would continually penalize people for live streaming versus just posting edited videos. It doesn't really help them to do that. So I could maybe understand it being bumpy at first, but in the long run, I could totally see them updating it. And as I've said, there's lots of channels I watch that do this regularly, and they are not hitting growth. And the other thing is, even if this did hurt my recommendations or hurt the algorithm for me, my channel's not growing much. I hate to break it to you, but I don't really care, because I still think I'm overpaid, and I enjoy this job. I mainly just want to make content for you guys and interact with you guys. As long as I can pay the bills, I'm happy. So I'm still perfectly I'm making plenty. I'm not in a risky financial position as much as I used to be. So even if the algorithm hit me, I don't really care. Because ultimately what I want to be the deciding factor for how we maintain live streams or where we post content, the driving force should be, what do the people want? That's the way I look at it. It should not necessarily just be about, this is what Drew wants, or this is what YouTube wants, this is what the algorithm is okay with. I want to live stream on YouTube. No, algorithm says you can't do that. It's like, I don't care. I mean, I think that there's too many content creators out there, or there's too many channels out there that focus too much on pleasing the algorithm, putting the right thing in the title, putting the right thing in the thumbnail, and pleasing the ever so powerful algorithm so that we can always be growing our subscriber count and always getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't think, in regards to channel audiences, bigger is necessarily better. A common complaint I got, and I knew I was going to get people upset. I knew that no matter what I did, this was going to annoy people, this decision to switch to YouTube. But a common one I got in the comments from yesterday's video was actually people saying, one of the things people love about Twitch is that they know that the live streams are going to have less people than YouTube. They know they're going to be smaller. And they know that when the live streams are smaller and they have less people, it's more personal, it's more intimate, so there's a better chance of getting to interact with me or getting your question answered and that kind of thing. So I understand that, and I completely get that side of things. You know, I used to watch channels that were a lot smaller than they were now, and it felt a lot more personal too, that I could interact with them when they weren't really established yet. And I've watched channels, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to start drama or anything, but there were channels I would watch that were kind of young and they hadn't really gotten very far yet, and I could interact with them really easily because they didn't have much of a presence yet. So I could reach out to them on Twitter or DM them or ask a question in the comments and almost instantly get a response because they were smaller. And then they get bigger and they get really successful, which makes sense. That's why I watch them, is because I enjoy them. And as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, Now they don't pay attention to me anymore. Now they don't talk to me. Now they ghost me on DMs. It's not a tech channel I'm talking about. I don't think it's a channel you guys would know about. But I totally get that viewpoint. I can be frustrated by that as well. But at the same time, what I can understand and what I hope you guys can understand is that's not a great reason to stay on a particular platform just because it's small and personal. It's a reason, but I don't think that's a reason to never try to move to where most people want you to go. And obviously there's thousands of people that watch my content, which I'm amazed by because I sometimes finish my videos and I'm like, that kind of sucked. Why would anyone want to watch this? And people still watch it and whatever. But what I ultimately want to make sure I'm just listening to the most amount of people possible. So if this is what most of my audience wants, then I'm willing to put up with the crappy YouTube live streaming system, which I think is objectively worse than Twitch. And I think that Twitch has a lot of benefits. But there's there's that example of what if I found some other streaming site that I thought was infinitely better than Twitch and YouTube with no revenue cut or anything, and I decide, okay, this is really nice, I want to stream here, but my whole audience says, Drew, that app is stupid, I don't want to use that. I don't want to use their app. It's on my end, it's confusing. It's great that it's nice on the streaming end for you, but for our end, it's a clunky app, or it's frustrating, or it's not. We don't want to have another social media, another email, and another password to keep to keep track of. So that can be frustrating to the viewers, even if it works well for me. So in not so much of a macro sense, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, is that the majority of my audience is saying, I don't want to download Twitch. I don't want to use Twitch. I'm comfortable with YouTube. That's where I watch your videos. That's where I'm happy to watch you live stream if you want to go live. So I asked everyone, where do you want me to stream? That's what they said. That's ultimately what I'm going to do. I'll address some of the chat here. We should do another vote. I didn't vote in the poll, and I have a super vote, which means my vote decides the outcome. That's wonderful. I love that. Let's see. I'm 23. Yeah, I'm just barely in the Gen Z department, but I am technically Gen Z. I'm like the oldest Gen Z out there. Let's see. Twitch, stop giving me more points. They're useless now. Let's see. If you want notifications, just join the Discord and enable the Oh, that's true. Yeah, I've done a lot of different. We used to do a lot of gaming streams too. I know. Let's see. The main thing I like about Twitch is getting notified of live streams. I can't turn on notifications for everyone on YouTube. Yeah, that's somewhat unavoidable. I guess I do tweet whenever I go live, and also Discord notifies people when I go live, so that also helps. That name's taken says, I respect your decision. That doesn't mean I'm happy with it, but I respect it. Well, I appreciate that very much. I think that was the overwhelming majority of comments I got yesterday, was most people saying, this sucks. I wanted you to stay on Twitch, but I also understand what you're doing. So not an easy decision. Also, Twitch Prime, I think, is a great thing that I'm very, very bummed out we won't have anymore. I think it's awesome that if someone has a subscription like Amazon Prime, which is very common, you can support a streamer for free. Granted, it wasn't auto-renewing, so you had to make sure you manually click the button once a month, and it didn't work on iOS or whatever. But still, the number of months people have subscribed with Twitch Prime, I'm extremely grateful for, and I did make a decent amount through that, and you guys didn't have to spend extra money on that. And I really, really tried. Pretty much every YouTube stream I've done over the past couple of years, I have always plugged Twitch. At the very end of each stream, I would say, like, okay, we're going to react to the event over on Twitch now because that's a better streaming platform. Or, hey, everyone, if you felt like your question's not getting answered, you want to go to a better live streaming platform, if you want more live streams, head over to Twitch. And after plugging and plugging and plugging for all these years, we got a little over 10,000 followers on Twitch. And we're well over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. To give you a perspective on how many people watch here versus on YouTube. And that that kind of shows me that the Twitch has kind of reached its maximum to a certain extent, of like the people who are willing to switch have switched, and the people who aren't willing to switch aren't never going to switch no matter what. I know it's harder for your voice to be heard in the massive YouTube chat. I know. But I mean, to be fair, like, you got to give some perspective on that too, because there were fans of my channel way back in like early 2017, 2016, where way back when I could afford to have like my Twitter DMs open, and I could literally direct message people. There were even a few fans I just straight up gave my phone number to, because at the time I was so small, I didn't think that was a big deal. And those people I was able to text and keep up with. But when I quickly realized the channel was growing, I was like, this is going to become impossible to keep giving out my phone number or keep up to date with everybody in my Twitter DMs. That's why eventually I had to turn it off, is because it's too much. If I opened it up for everyone, I couldn't respond to anyone. It would get crazy. So live streams are an easy way for me to communicate with large numbers of people all at once. And I enjoy them. I still get a kick out of them, and I don't want to stop doing them, but I definitely want to know how to feel like the most amount of people are being interacted with, and the content is being appreciated to the most of its potential. I'm going to miss Twitch too, for the record. There's a lot of things I like about Twitch, and there's still a part of me that wants to stay, but overall, I mean, the taxes is one thing. That's not the main reason I'm doing this, but the taxes for Twitch are somewhat complicated. They basically have to record Twitch Prime revenue as royalties separate from bits or tier 1 subs. So it's complicated on a tax side of things to have all these different income sources, and the headache of all those different taxes is kind of worth it if you're just starting out and you're just trying to get your business off the ground. So that's kind of where I was for many years. I was like just starting, and I just moved out of my parents' house. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have Patreon, I'm going to have Twitch, I'm going to have merch, I'm going to have YouTube, I'm going to do all these things so that I have as much income as possible. So we're kind of maximizing the amount of revenue I could generate from everybody. And now that's not really the situation we're in anymore. We're in a very stable place now. We're paying off so much stuff. We don't have any debt, and we own our house, and we don't have to worry about rent anymore. And even if YouTube crashed and burned, we would still be fine. We would just have to rearrange our finances a little bit. Wouldn't be the end of the world like it would have been if YouTube crashed and burned a few years back. That's when, Twitch and Patreon would have been really, really crucial. But now, less so. And we're just not really willing to put up with the tax headache anymore. We're like, oh geez, it's like the income from Patreon and Twitch and Teespring was nice. Don't get me wrong, it's appreciated. It's an income nonetheless, and I don't take that for granted. But it wasn't drastically different from what I think. It wasn't like what am I trying to say? It's not like it would make or break my situation in the event that YouTube explodes. That's the worst case scenario we're all trying to envision. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you rely your income entirely off of YouTube, what's going to happen if YouTube goes away? We weren't in a situation where like, well, if I'm active on Twitch, I'll survive. But if I'm not active on Twitch, we'll be in trouble. Now it's like, no, we'll be fine either way. So especially when you're in California, and especially when you're self-employed, and you have all these different tax documents to collect and certain income streams, looking at you Patreon, looking at you Teespring, feel like not giving certain tax documents or waiting way too long to provide certain tax documents. That's what frustrates the whole tax process. It makes things very complicated, and simplifying everything as much as possible. The other thing was, at the beginning of this tax year, we had to start reporting all of our podcast revenue, because in years prior, the podcast was doing okay, but it wasn't making enough money that I needed to add it to my taxes. Now the podcast has picked up a lot of traction. Again, super grateful for it. Not trying to sound ungrateful for this. It's amazing that I can talk to my friends Nick and Randy, and we can make a living out of that. That's fantastic, and I'm super happy for them going independent and making this a full-time gig, and I'm super excited that Talos of Tech podcast is doing well, and people are listening to it every week, and that's wonderful. I'm super excited for that, but we had to basically account for podcast revenue, YouTube revenue, Twitch revenue, which is really like two separate incomes because they separate non-employee compensation from royalties, Patreon, Teespring. There's so many tax documents that we have to track down. I saw a lot of people saying like, well, why don't you just hire a tax person? We've done that in the past, and it doesn't really simplify much because you basically have to explain and wait for all the documents. I guess I'm live on Twitch, so I have a bit more time to go into this. The biggest headache of taxes is there's a certain deadline when you're self-employed and you don't really know how much money you're going to make every year. It makes more sense, for us at least, to pay quarterly because you have to essentially guess when you're self-employed how much taxes you're going to owe for the year. If you're on a salary and you're working a stable job and you know exactly what your income is going to be every year, it's not that big a deal. You could just say, okay, I'm probably going to make around this much this year, so let's pay this much in taxes. But in the tech world, in the YouTube world, and you're self-employed and your revenue depends exactly based on your channel's performance, which is not a guarantee. You have no clue if you're going to have another, adpocalypse where CPMs drop or income's going to skyrocket when something like the Cybertruck comes out. That's when I had my best video ever, was Cybertruck videos. When that happens, you don't know. So you have to basically decide at the very beginning of each tax year how much you're going to pay. And you don't know. You have to make a safe assumption that's like, okay, I don't want to underpay, because if you don't pay enough taxes, they'll fine you, which has happened to us several times now. It's happened several years in a row where you're like, okay, I think I'm going to make this much, so I'm going to pay this much in quarterlies 4 times throughout the year. And then the year goes by and it turns out actually you made more than that. You owe more. You underpaid your taxes. You get slapped with a fine. So the IRS literally punishes you because you didn't know exactly how much your business was going to make within a year. So that's annoying. And we can only really report all of our taxes and file our tax returns once all of the tax documents and all of the income has been reported for. And it is all the files and all the paperwork and all the 1099s have been provided. Now, YouTube's been pretty good about this. I complain about YouTube a lot, but I'll give them some credit here. They usually send me my 1099, and it's all in one number. It's not royalties separate from non-employee compensation. They usually send it very early. Typically around January is when I get my 1099 from YouTube. It's very clear. It's very simple. I can't say the same thing about Twitch. Twitch complicates it, and they wait longer. They usually wait until February or March. And the problem with Teespring, if you're wondering why we're leaving that, is they didn't want to provide one at all, despite our income qualifying for it. And it's the same story with Patreon. Patreon's like, we don't want to provide 1099s unless you make $10,000 a year. So spoiler alert, I make less than $10,000 a year from Patreon. But the U.S. federal tax law says that you have to have a 1099 or you have to have that tax information provided if you make more than $600 within a year. So Patreon didn't want to provide the form. Teespring didn't want to provide the form, and that prevents us from being able to complete the taxes earlier. And if we hire a tax person, they're going to run into the same issue. We've hired tax people in the past. We've worked with accountants. And basically what they need is those documents. They ask you, where are those 1099s? Where are these tax forms? And I basically have to say, well, it hasn't shown up in the mail yet. YouTube's here, Twitch is here, but Teespring's not here and Patreon's not here because Patreon doesn't feel like it. I don't know how they can get away with not providing it. Maybe they are based in another country and they have different laws to abide by. But the more sketchy thing that we've oftentimes had to do, which I'm not happy about is just basically collect and report the income on our end and say, okay, this is how much we made from Patreon or Teespring. We don't have a tax document, but this is how much it is. And we just try to disclose that within the IRS tax forms. But that it could easily be off or it could be wrong. So far, it hasn't been an issue, but it's still it's an extra step we're not supposed to have to do. And basically, it's very complicated. If hopefully my little rant can explain as to why we don't like having all these different systems. I've also seen people say, why don't you, officially register Tailosive as a separate entity with its own bank account and everything, form a LLC and everything. That costs $800 a year where I am, on top of all of your additional taxes. So basically, the operations of the business would go way up higher, and because all the tax forms would still be there, it wouldn't simplify much. We'd pretty much have more paperwork to do, and I would have to pay myself through Tailosive. So it's kind of a nightmare. But can't you just put down the revenue from the ones who don't give tax forms as other taxable income? Yeah, that's what we do. But I'm just saying it's not what we're supposed to do. It's not something we should have to do. And when you're filing taxes yourself or a CPA is doing them for you, they want to find those documents because they're more official and they have your social on them. Whereas if you're just reporting them as other income, the IRS basically doesn't exactly know where you got that income. If you don't explicitly have a paycheck issuer with an ID that says this is who paid you, they're going to see a lot of that of like, oh, are you selling something? Or, where are you getting this cash from? That's a lot of money that's going, just miscellaneous income. And that sends up red flags because they don't know where it's coming from. So, yeah, not fun either way. And if I'm staying on Twitch and it's complicating taxes and most people don't want me here anyway, then why bother, I guess, is the main thing. But at the same time, I still love the community we've built here. I'm happy that we gave it a fair, honest shot. I'm happy that we tried and we did our best to, get a lot of people over here. And I hope that some people have moved over to Twitch and ended up liking it and maybe found some other streamers they enjoy here. But at the same time, there were a lot of comments on yesterday's video that basically said, well, time to delete my Twitch account now. Which was funny. But let's see. I have a solution for you. Start a shell company in a tax haven country to avoid taxes. Yeah, that sounds very Apple-esque, doesn't it? Let's see. This sounds like a problem a startup could try to solve. There's a lot of laws in the way that can't really fix this. Let's see. Businesses are supposed to have tax documents out within January. That's very sketchy that Patreon and Teespring can get away with that. Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of the law. I just know that there's certain things they're supposed to do and they don't, which is confusing for me. And we're the ones who have to end up with that headache. Basically, what I'm saying is that Apple is superior to all other tech companies. Okay. How much time a week would you say you spend creating content as opposed to engaging with your audience? Would love to get a sense for what your work week looks like. It's very mixed. I don't think I could say there's like hours where I'm just working on content and hours where I'm just interacting with my audience. Like I have Discord on my iPad pretty much all day as I'm editing videos. So if I'm in the middle of importing something or I'm in the middle of exporting a video, I'll just jump over to Twitter, jump over to Discord, and 2 or 3 times a week I'll do these live streams, which are kind of content production, kind of audience engagement. So it's a very blurred mix. It's probably 2 or 3 hours a day working on filming and editing, but there's tons of audience interaction intermixed with all that as well. Let's see. Yes, opinions are subjective. Just ain't worth the squeeze. Yeah, I hate taxes too. When Drew said that the new iMac is ugly, he actually meant that the bezels are white. I meant both those things. It has white bezels and it's ugly. Man, after all these Twitch streams, we're back to the iMac. Let's see. This isn't a goodbye. It's just a I'm no longer on Twitch live speech. Yeah. No, this is... I very intentionally titled this stream, I'm leaving Twitch next month. This is not the last Twitch stream. I'm still gonna do Twitch streams for the rest of July. Excuse me, for the rest of July. So we're still gonna be here a couple more times, just for nostalgia's sake, and so that people are prepared for the transition, so that it doesn't come out behind you. I didn't want to do it really quickly. I didn't want to be like, okay, bye, last Twitch stream. Hey, everyone, have a good time. I wanted to give everyone a chance to, tie up loose ends and feel like their Twitch Prime was not pointless, because there's probably a few people that are going to subscribe with the tier 1 or donate bits and then a day later find out, oh, I'm leaving. So I wanted to give them a few more streams to appreciate Twitch for what it is. I didn't want to move everything over really, really quickly. There were a few other questions earlier. Let me try to find them. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying, why is Twitch still giving us points? I guess I might be able to turn those off some way. Let's see. God bless Drew's decision. Some people, of course, are very happy. They've wanted me to stream on YouTube for a while now. Dark Ops says, God bless you, Drew, and thank you from my heart for all these years. Oh, you're welcome. And for the record, I'm not going anywhere, right? It's just more live content going from a different direction. People just don't seem to like changing platforms. Like plugging both Twitch and Discord only gets a fraction of the viewers to join. It's true. People are very picky about their apps. There's already a lot of social medias people use, and they're very hesitant to try new ones. Just in general, average people do not want to switch to a different platform at all. Will you still use Talos of Tech streams on YouTube? For the rest of this month, these Twitch streams will end up on that channel, but once I switch over to Talos of Tech, the main channel for all live streams, no. Those live streams will be available publicly on that channel. So live streams, edited videos, it'll all be in one place. And I know some people don't like that, but we're just gonna try. I'm up for trying new things, and if enough people complain, or if enough people say this is a problem, I'm willing to change things again. But I do want to commit to things for a while. I didn't try out Twitch for like 2 months. I tried out Twitch for almost 3 years. In fact, we weren't partners right away on Twitch, so I'm guessing I've probably been on Twitch for over 3 years at this point, and I gave it a fair shot, and I kind of want to do the same thing with YouTube live streaming. I don't want to just try it, and if it doesn't instantly go great within the first month, I'm not going to jump back on Twitch. Like I want to give it several years worth of trying, and I'm willing to cut down on that timeline if enough people are mad about it or enough people hate it. Mini Dinosaur says, not to sound too critical, I think your streaming style just isn't what the Twitch algorithm wants. The people with lots of followers are the ones to stream 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week. I think YouTube is genuinely a better platform for how you use live streaming. I don't think that's too critical. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Most of the people that make it on Twitch have to live stream many, many hours a week, and I'm just simply not doing that because I'm not gaming. I'm just interviewing. And I saw a lot of people asking why I'm not streaming to both. There's different streaming services out there that allow you to live stream to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I hope that my rant on taxes kind of fixes that issue. And also, I have done that in the past. I've used Restream or Streamlabs or whatever, and I have streamed to multiple platforms simultaneously. For one, it makes the chats very difficult to keep up with because you have a Twitch chat and you have a YouTube chat, and when they're not combined and you're dealing with donations and Twitch Primes from both, it's people get confused very quickly because I'm answering questions that no one is seeing in the chat. And also because you have to stream to a relay station, there's a lot more latency. So there's a lot more time between when a question gets asked and when the question gets answered, because you're not streaming directly to Twitch. You're streaming to Restream, and then Restream is streaming to Twitch and YouTube. And there was also a lot of technical difficulties I ran into with Restream as well, where I would be trying to live stream to multiple platforms at once, and one would be working fine and the other one wouldn't be working. And that would be really confusing because I'm trying to fix it for the Twitch people, and the people on YouTube are like, what's the problem? Everything's working fine here. So between the taxes on Twitch complicating everything, and also Restream adding more latency and confusion in the chat, I've tried that and I'm not a fan. I think it's just easier to go direct. if you really want to interact with Drew, the Discord is a very good place to do that, and it is less one-sided than live streaming, so it will still be very possible. Yeah, I think the Discord's underrated too. Maybe I need to plug that more often. But I just tried my best to avoid plugging things because it just always rubs me the wrong way when a video ends with someone, check this out, click this button, join this. So I know that all creators have to do that to a certain extent, especially when you're making changes and announcing things. So I do it, but rarely. He's still going to miss these. Yeah, I'm going to miss these too. Let's see. But yeah, I highly recommend the Discord just because I'm in there a lot, and I have Discord open on my iPad every single day that I'm working. And pretty much anytime someone pings me in there or asks a question in there, it's basically like having a live chat 24/7. So you guys having conversations with yourselves in the live chat here or asking me questions in the chat here. It's not like you can only type in that chat when I'm live because Discord is the thing, and there's multiple channels and different roles people can get. So I think it's a really underrated platform, and I'm not planning on leaving that anytime soon. Excuse me. So I hope that answers most of people's questions. I was trying to cover the why I don't stream to multiple platforms and why taxes are so complicated, why hiring a tax person doesn't fix everything. And I'm sorry. I got like choked on something already. Chris Norton, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Oh my goodness. I started a YouTube channel. I have loads of subscribers. 9. Wow, I am big. Yeah. Hey, that's everybody's going to start somewhere, Chris. That's not a bad start. I was at far below 9 for a very, very long time. Smash the like button and subscribe. Hit the bell icon and check out our merch sponsored by Squarespace. Drew. No, I don't think I will. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I guess cooking stuff can go to Talos of Food. Yeah. Talos of Taxes would redact so much information each video. Pretty much just my social and my address. Other than that, I don't really care. If people know how much I make, I don't really mind anymore. For a while, I wanted to keep that private, but eventually I was like, yeah, you know what? People should just be aware of this. But thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. We shall lobby the federal government draft legislation to make Drew stay on Twitch. It will pass the House 435 to nothing, the Senate 100 to 0, and when Biden signs it into law, Trump will come and say, nice law, Joe. You guys are crazy. It's kind of sad that the only way to get people to subscribe is to remind them it exists. I know. I find that sad, too. And it's shocking how well it works. I just refuse to play into that. I think about how obsessed YouTube channels are with growth. Because obviously that's in YouTube's best interest, right? The YouTube algorithm... Starlink, come back. Most of the dashboard in Creator Studio and YouTube in general encourages everyone to always be growing their channel nonstop. It doesn't matter how big you get. They want you to be growing more. They want you to be reaching more people. They want you to be expanding. And in order to expand past a certain point, you notice that a lot of channels that go past 10 million, 20 million, 30 million subscribers, they all start doing very similar things. They all start doing very similar sponsorships, or they all start telling you, click this button, or clickbaiting to a certain extent. There's a bunch of stuff you feel pressured by YouTube and by your audience and by probably other creators to always be growing bigger, always be getting larger. And I don't think that necessarily bigger always means better. With different communities and different content creators, I think we can all imagine lots of channels that we enjoyed at one point that once they reached a certain size, they became less interesting or people didn't enjoy them as much. I could be that guy for a lot of you guys. That's fine. I understand. It's very subjective, and I've seen that comment a lot of people saying, like, you know, I liked you at one point, but I don't like you anymore. And I'm the same way. There's lots of channels I used to watch that I don't watch anymore. I just fell out of my interest, or I realized that I couldn't stay that fascinated by someone for that long. So I was like, you know, it's just not working for me anymore, so I'm going to unsubscribe. I've probably unsubscribed from more channels in the past year than I have subscribed. And I think it makes perfect sense when you consider how slow the news gets in the tech community. How, sometimes we can have really exciting Mac announcements and really exciting iPhone news, and other times there's just months of nothing. And that forces everyone to get sometimes really unique and really creative with their videos to say, oh, let's try making videos about this. Let's try making videos about this. And some people don't like that because they want latest breaking news update. Oh my God, look at this new announcement that, and those big leaks or those big announcements or rumors coming for the iPhone 10 or whatever, the iPad Pro 2018 or something, that news is fascinating to people. And that's what makes them find creators they like. But then once they realize those creators aren't always able to hold people's interest when there's not a big announcement or when there's not a big one more thing in development, that's when they go, oh, so this is what you're going to do when news is slow? So this is what you're going to talk about? I don't care. I don't want to watch this. So I don't think it's realistic to act like channels can always be growing or can always be getting bigger, because the truth is I think I have a pretty decent idea, having watched a lot of channels in my similar community and lots of Apple channels and tech channels. I think I know what I would have to do to grow more, whether it's telling people to subscribe at every video, or it's telling people to hit the like button every time, or it's clickbaity, or it's taking certain brand deals and promoting the same brands you've heard a million times. I just don't think I'm willing to do that, because it may be a statistic success, but I don't think it's a personal success. I think there's a lot of giant channels with millions of subscribers that I have no respect for because of how they got there, or what they do for a living is not entertaining to me or very sketchy for me. And I'm just not willing to do those things. And I consider that a success, even if it means my channel loses subscribers, even if it means my channel stagnates in growth and people don't stick around. I'm not going to let that number define me. I'm not going to let people think that, well, people can think whatever they want, but I'm just not going to be the type of person that says I'm a failure because the channel didn't hit a certain milestone. I think that's a really mentally dangerous place to be, because you know why? That battle never stops. There's never going to be, if your goal is always grow, always get bigger, and if we're not growing, that means we're failing, that itch will never be satisfied. You will always be wanting more. Even PewDiePie has his T-Series, that's a perfect example, because you could be having 80 or 90 million subscribers and still be wanting more. And someone will still tell you, this channel has more than you. So if there's people with tens of millions and they're still not thinking that's enough, or they still want more, then you eventually just have to learn about when to be content with yourself and when you're going to be true to yourself and say, as long as I'm producing content that I'm proud of and I'm not putting up with things that I don't enjoy for the sake of money, for the sake of growth and subscriber counts, then I think you're going to be okay. You're going to be enjoying life ultimately, as long as you're staying true to your identity and you're not being dishonest with people. This stream was brought to you by Raid Shadow. So, yeah. I don't watch iJustine. I don't watch really anybody in the tech community just because I spend so much time with tech. And I'm not against people doing sponsored videos. If you want to do sponsored videos, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying I get sick of it. I'm tired of ads. I don't like putting up with them, so I'm not going to do it. There's lots of ads growing on YouTube. More and more channels are getting sponsorships, and there's ads that play before the video starts, and then the video starts and there's another sponsorship. And I just feel like there's not enough channels saying, maybe let's just do our best to spend our money wisely and not have sponsorships, and just try to make the most of our income and not have to, sell out portions of the video. I'm just not interested in that, because I don't enjoy it when creators I watch do it because I always have to skip past it. Get your money, one thing, but YouTube already has an ad revenue platform. You can make a ton of money. I know from experience, you can make a ton of money on YouTube without doing a single sponsorship. You know, I by no means think I make a little amount. I think I make plenty, and I've never once done a brand deal. So to me, taking a sponsorship is I want more money on top of the money I'm already making, and I think that you can make quite a bit without it. It's just people have decided that even that's not enough, so I need to get more. I need to get more money, and that's their decision. I'm not in favor of everybody doing what I do. You know, I'm all for freedom of, you know, make the content you want to see. If Linus or iJustine is making videos that she enjoys and thinks this is what the platform needs, then good for her. Keep doing that. But I'm going to do the same thing on my end. I'm going to say this is what I want to see more of. I don't want to see more VPN ads. I don't want to see more Raid Shadow Legends. I'm just going to make videos based on ideas that come to mind that I think are interesting, and hope people enjoy them. And if they don't, that's fine. Or you need very good stocks, yes. Let's see. It's ironically coincidental how double tapping. It's conveniently coincidental how what? Oh, he's talking about a sponsor. Takes you 20 seconds to almost the end of his intro. Try it. I just don't like having to, especially because how I watch YouTube a lot of the time is I have a video playing in picture, and then I'm editing a video on the side, which makes it very annoying when someone breaks into a sponsored ad break, because I don't often watch a ton of YouTube on my phone. Sometimes I do, but for the most part, if I'm playing YouTube, I'm also going to be doing something else. And if they break into an ad, then I have to stop what I'm doing, go back to the video, and skip it again. It's not just double tap for me a lot of the time. 100 bits from Chris again. I didn't know I had a YouTube channel. I had one since 2005. Well, yeah, it's kind of links to your Gmail, I think, or whatever. But yeah. Let's see. JPS Tition, thank you for the Twitch Prime. I hope you're aware we're going to be leaving at the end of the month, but I do appreciate it while it's there. The AirPods Max are $477 right now on Amazon. Do you think they're worth it for that? They're closer to being worth it, but no. I think my price for AirPods Max... my AirPods Max maximum price would have been $450. I could have understood $450, but everything above that is just kind of ridiculous, especially with that crappy case. You need very good stocks, exactly. Let's see. The people want to see you do a collab with other tech YouTubers. Yeah, it's easier said than done. You can't necessarily just get a hold of anybody you want. And also, I think that people... having done several collabs in the past, I think that people make that out to be a bigger deal than it is. A lot of the time, like, collab with this person, and then you meet that person, and you're like, hi. And they're like, hi. So, what do you think the new iPhone will be like? Probably pretty cool. All right, sounds good. And it's just like you got two big people in a room together, but they didn't really do much with it. Common mistake I think a lot of younger channels make is they feel like if they're able to collaborate with if they're able to collaborate with a giant channel, they think that'll put them on the map and a bunch of people start watching them. Doesn't really happen. I enjoy collabing with big channels, but I'm just saying people think that's going to change everything, and a ton of people are going to tune into it. I did a collab with MKBHD because I watch his stuff and I like him. He's my favorite tech creator. I don't watch much tech content, but I do watch his stuff. And I watched him long before I was making tech videos. So that particular week, both Nick and Randy were busy. And they were like, so, Drew, are you going to be able to make the podcast yourself? Are you going to find a guest or something? And I said, yeah, I'll reach out to a few people. And I was like, hey, I haven't talked to Marquez in a while. I watch him. So I reached out to him. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense for me to reach out and collab with people I don't watch regularly, because they probably have already answered all the questions I'm going to ask, or I just don't know them as well because I don't watch them. But yeah, if people invite me to collabs, yeah, I'm more than happy to do what I can. I did not know I could do this for free, so last few months you'll get. Thank you. I really like your content. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Said the one to do a collab with Marquez in 2017 or 18. I remember your voice shaking. Good times. Hey, I bet everyone was complaining about how nervous I sound, but I guarantee all of you would have been just as nervous, if not more, if you were interviewing Marquez. It's not easy talking to, people you've been watching for that long, people you look up to, and people you know who have met Bill Gates and Elon Musk. And, he's a big influential person in the community. So when you sit down with him and he's looking at you through the Skype call and he's like, all right, take it away. Go ahead. That's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stress involved with that. That's a lot of, whoa, okay. Here we go. That's something I think most people would have been somewhat stressed with. That it puts a pressure on you. Even though they're just a person, they're just a guy like you or me. It's easy to forget that when you book the appointment and you're waiting for him to pick up the phone, and then he does, and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And you're like, "I'm used to watching you in 4K." Now you're like actually talking. That it's a big fanboy moment for me. I'm a Marquez fanboy, I guess. I think I did much better this year, though. I tried to keep my voice more collected. And yeah, I collabed with John Morrison as well. We got to actually do that one in person. Very nervous leading up to that. That was a very shaky time. I was up late that night. Had a hard time sleeping the night before I met John Morrison, because he was one of those guys I was watching for a long time, many years before I met him. But many years before I made YouTube videos. Anyway, I guess we could talk a little bit about tech near the tail end of this. I want a new iPad Pro. I have a 2017 Pro, but should I wait for OLED iPads next year? If your 2017 Pro is working, I would say wait. I mean, if you want the 12.9-inch version, maybe the mini LED's a good buy. I don't think the differences between OLED and mini LED are going to be super noticeable, to be honest with you. So if you're waiting to buy a big one, maybe get this year's if you are fine with iPadOS in its current state. But if you're more comfortable with the 11-inch, I would just say wait. You'll probably get mini LED or OLED next year or something like that. Let's see. How about iUpdate? He is also good. Yeah, he's good. I know him pretty well. We've been friends for several years now, but I have nothing against him or anything. I spend so much of my day making tech content, I don't really watch tech videos regularly. I mostly watch Red Letter Media. That's and a lot of SpaceX channels. I watch a lot of Starship development, and I watch a lot of space flight development and aircraft videos, and the things that kind of give me a wide palette of content to choose from. I don't just go all in on tech because I spend so much time with tech. So if I cover a video with updates and changes for rumors and leaks and that kind of thing, and Sam also makes one, I kind of know what he's going to talk about because I know what his sources are and I know what he's going to say. So I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not that I don't like Sam. I still enjoy Sam, but I just can't spend that much time watching videos I already know the information of. I started watching you senior year in high school, and I just graduated college. I wonder how many hours I've spent watching your content. Yeah. Jajal, that's a good question. How much time have I cumulatively wasted thanks to YouTube and Twitch? People are like, so much time. I think about this iPad Pro a lot because it's a hybrid nature, but I don't want to buy the 2020 iPad Pro if the 2018 one is going to do the same thing. Yeah, I wouldn't either. It's just stick with the 2018. That's what I'm doing. I sold my Magic Keyboard case this morning, so it's officially gone. I no longer have access to it. If Apple doesn't want the iPad to be a 2-in-1 and they're, breaking iPadOS to make it crappy, poor use of space, and I can't have the Today View anymore, and the apps are all spaced apart, then I'm just going to treat the iPad like an iPad. I'm not going to treat it like a laptop anymore because Pro apps still haven't happened. Mac OS features were not brought over. It basically just feels like blown up iOS. So I'm just going to turn it back into an iPad. Not gonna pretend it can be more than that, because that's how Apple sees it. So I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of this abusive relationship. So I'm just gonna get comfortable with it being only an iPad. And I think that's revenue-wise in Apple's loss. I think they really could have made a lot more money if they made more Pro software available on the iPad. I don't think it would cannibalize Mac sales. Apple, for one, has been fine with cannibalizing sales in the past, but there's still a bunch of reasons to still get a Mac over an iPad. For one, iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard case is way heavier, and Macs are going to have the M1X chip. They're going to have the SD card slot, HDMI port. MacBook Air even has the headphone jack, whereas the iPad Pro doesn't. So there's pros and cons to both. I think that even the iPad running macOS as a dual boot option would still be a brand new demographic of people spending tons of money, and I don't think it would stop people from buying Macs. So I don't think they would lose money on this. I think they're losing money by not creating software that takes advantage of the iPad Pro hardware. Because what the end result of Apple saying, let's not make it do more than an iPad is supposed to do, the result is more people like me just holding on to the 2018 Pro and not doing anything with it. People are just going to not upgrade. And I think that's the end result, is just people not buying the new iPad Pros because they're like, what's the point? 2018 one does pretty much 99% the same things. Why bother spending all this money on something that'll barely do anything differently? And they're really trying here. They're giving it Thunderbolt, M1, Mini LED, Center Stage, LiDAR, telephoto. They're just giving the best of the best hardware, but that software fundamentally just prevents it from being worth it to anybody. Since I checked, the iPad Pro is approximately twice the price of an M1 MacBook. It's better, I think, about the Mac instead. Yeah, the iPad Pro costs way more, so I'm not worried about it cannibalizing. I don't think I could go to an iPad without a Magic Keyboard anymore. We did it for 10 years. Try it. That's what I did. I wanted to see if I could live without it. After iPadOS 15 was a huge disappointment, I was like, I'm just going to take off the Magic Keyboard case and go back to a Smart Folio, which is what I'm using, and just see if I can get comfortable with it again. And it wasn't that bad. After about a week, I was like, you know what? I think I don't need this anymore. I think I can live without it. There's definitely some strengths. I still like the Magic Keyboard case, and I don't think it's overpriced. But yeah, overall, you can live without it. I don't think it's replaced laptop with weirder laptop. It's replaced laptop with tablet. Yeah, a tablet that has a keyboard and a trackpad. Yeah, that's not a laptop. Even though I put it on my lap and I control it with a mouse and a keyboard, that's totally different. I really enjoyed your stream with Viper today. It was nice to have the Twitter Spaces integration with your live streams on YouTube. Yeah, that was really cool. He told me a little bit about that after the live stream, and I want to do that. I'm trying to find a way to do that cheaper. I think there might be an easy way to do it through Discord. Also, oh, come on, Starling. Come back. I lost it. Come on, Starlink. You were doing so well. There we go. One sec. I did love the case. The most buying more iPad Air 4s because it's only a step under the 11-inch iPad Pro. It is cheaper, but the fact that Apple makes the Magic Keyboard shows they think it can be a laptop, but apparently only for Word and Safari. Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, Starlink was having a major stroke there. Man, it was doing so well the past few weeks. Now it's getting bumpy again. Anyway, what was I going to say? They make the Magic Keyboard case. Oh, the integrations with Spaces. Yeah, I think there's a way I can integrate it through Discord, because I would like the idea of having people come on the live stream to ask questions. But I am worried that people can abuse that ability very easily. I don't want trolls coming on and saying like, they curse as much as they can or do something crazy. So I know not everybody's going to love this idea, but for the sake of moderation and trying to prevent people from trolling, I might bring people on the YouTube streams to ask questions, but maybe restrict it to members, just so that we don't get any yahoo showing up. But I guess that could be abused, at least if someone abuses it. If someone becomes a YouTube member, links it with their Discord, and then joins the YouTube stream and then trolls, we'll at least be able to IP ban that person. So they'll have to spend $2 for every time they troll. So it's like, okay, you're wasting my time, but I'm getting paid every time you do that. So thanks anyway. Yeah, maybe you have to be approved first. But it was fun. I liked having people come on and actually hear their voice and stuff. And Viper was using Twitter Spaces and using kind of expensive equipment to input that iPhone audio into the live stream, and he said it cost something like $600. It was a lot, but the old YouTube streams where trolls ask you to undress, I don't miss that part about it. Yeah, I don't miss that part, but I'm gonna mod a few more people. I'm gonna try to kind of flood the chat with moderators so that pretty much anytime I go live, there's gonna be so many sheriffs in town, no one would bother attempting to troll because they won't last very long. Also, if there are emergencies where a bot shows up or one of those spammers shows up where they have like 8 different alt accounts, and as soon as we ban one, another one shows up, I'll just switch it into slow mode, or I'll switch it into members only mode, and hope that kind of filters them away. Discord voice chat would work well enough, and you could probably just mix your computer audio with the stream audio. Yeah, I think I know of a way to do that. It might sound a little weird, but I'd like to try it. Let's see. I used my iPad for the first 2 years in college and eventually bought a MacBook Pro because I was tired of needing software and having to go to my campus library. Yeah, I think that's what ultimately bugs me about the iPad is it's like it does the basics fine, but they don't want to take it beyond the basics. It's always going to be objectively worse. The ProRes thing is the biggest like evidence of that to me. The fact that Apple made a video codec themselves. This is not something they borrowed from a third party. They made their own video codec and intentionally has chosen to not allow it on the iPad. Like, that almost feels active, like they actively said no on that, because the iPad now has the same silicon that a Mac has, and that Mac can play ProRes no problem. So they're like actively choosing to not let the iPad have support for certain things. That's not Sony's fault. That's not a Microsoft problem. That's a straight up Apple says no to that, which is like, come on. They I don't think have a plan to turn the iPad into more of a 2-in-1. So that's why I sold my Magic Keyboard case, and I'm just living with the Smartfolio again, and I'm loving it. It's fine. It works great. And once I get universal control, I'll be able to control my iPad through the keyboard and mouse that I control my iMac with. So I'll still have keyboard and mouse support. I'll just be able to use what's right here in front of me instead of having separate keyboards and separate mouse and a trackpad next to each other. It's just kind of too much redundancy. I bet you the iPad team just forgot ProRes exists. I feel like they can't forget it exists, especially when the marketing department is showing off like Thunderbolt port on the iPad, and they're showing LumaFusion, and LumaFusion is clearly limited because iPadOS doesn't support ProRes, and it feels like they should have changed that by now. They should have improved that, and they still haven't. So yeah, that's weird aspect of it for me, but whatever. I'm over it. I've given up. I'm just gonna abandon the idea that we'll get Pro apps on the iPad, or it'll ever become something worth buying over a MacBook for Pro class software. And that means I think I'm just gonna hold on to my 2018 Pro as long as I can. I'll just see how many years of updates I can get out of it. So what can we use this Thunderbolt port for? Apple is like, stuff. You know, whatever. Just it's Thunderbolt. Yeah, so we got the Thunderbolt port, so we can have like full external monitor support now, right? Where it like scales to the aspect ratio. And Apple's like, no, it still just mirrors the screen. Oh, so Thunderbolt will allow us to import, really high resolution files, the ProRes format or the Red codec. Now we can import those onto the iPad, right? No, those aren't supported. That's it. You just import what you could have already imported a little bit faster now. Great. Thanks, Apple. Appreciate that. Oh well. Is macOS Monterey available from MacBook Air 2013? I don't know. I don't think so. That sounds too old. And I remember Monterey seeming like it was cutting off a bit. Let's check now, shall we? See the preview. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Now Starlink's fine. Full list. Where's the compatibility? Did I miss it? Oh, here we go. MacBook Air early 2015 and later. So that's a big nope from me, dog. All iMac Pros will run it. There's only one option. I like it to say 2017 and later. There was only one. The 12-inch MacBook has to be early 2016, which means that the first 12-inch MacBook will not get Monterey. But the trash can Mac Pro will. In fact, I think, that's the oldest Mac that will get Monterey is the trash can from 2013. So there you have it. Question answered. Did you see LumaFusion plans to add proxy creatures that will support ProRes and R3D? Yeah, I know they want to do a backdoor option through proxy, but it doesn't fix my frustrations with iPadOS. That's still fundamentally the annoying aspect. Wonder what happens if you plug the iPad into a Thunderbolt hub with multiple display outs. Does it just mirror it on more screens? I'm going to guess no. I think it'll just mirror it on one of the screens at random. Let's see. My dad still uses the iPad Air 2. Aged really well. Yeah, so does my cousin. My cousin Matt still uses his Air 2 to this day. My iPhone 8 Plus is starting to really show its age. Time to upgrade this fall, finally. Ooh, congratulations. 8 Plus isn't that old. How's it showing its age, I wonder? My sister just bought an iPhone 8 like a few months ago, and she's loving it. But she was upgrading from a 6. So she's appreciating a lot now. She had to put up with a lot of crap. Monterey is so much better than Big Sur. Big Sur isn't that big of an update as the Monterey will be. Big Sur, I would say, was a big aesthetic update. Monterey has a bit more functionality, but I guess the iPad Pro is like the AirPods Pro. Pro in name, only really just high-end consumer. I would take it a step further and say Pro means it costs more. It's not for professionals. It just means that you have more money to blow on the device. The Pro and iPad Pro means that you got cash. You got money to drop. Oh, well. Yeah, batteries show signs of age, I guess. Oh, well. I appreciate... this is, for the record, for those still watching, this is not... dude, your sister could have bought the iPhone 12 or 11, the 8 is a 2017. Yeah, she could have also bought a $50,000 Mac Pro, but you know what? Money exists. Her budget was $300. She asked, what's the best iPhone I can get for $300? I wasn't going to say, buy the iPhone 11 for twice that. She was like, I want to get a new iPhone. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. So she was like, my limit is $300. So I said, okay, iPhone 8. It's got way more storage than your old phone, and it's got wireless charging and stuff. So there you go. And she loves it. She's happy with it. I always found that counter argument stupid. It's like, hey, someone got a new phone, and it's kind of older, but they got a good deal on it. It's like, you idiot. You could have bought a 512 gigabyte iPhone 12 Pro Max for 5 times the price. Why wouldn't you have done that? I just bought a house. Why didn't you buy a mansion, you idiot? You could have bought a $30 million mansion. That's basically the thought process. Matthew Tyler says, I've been using Monterey and I see no difference from Big Sur. That feels good because I haven't switched to Monterey yet because I'm scared to put a beta on my editing rig. But universal control and yeah, that's the biggest one. I was gonna say like erasing all content and settings, but that's only really good if you're updating and selling Macs all the time. I guess I could just get a new battery installed from Apple. Yeah, get a new phone. Yeah, other aspects of the phone are going to age outside of the battery, so I just say upgrade entirely. Cellurate Plus for a good deal, and then use that money to pay for the rest. I have to charge it 2 times a day, and it's really slowing down. Yeah, I think even if you replace the battery, it would still act slow. So I just say get a new one. But I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. For the record, not the last stream. There will still be Twitch streams until the end of July. But I do appreciate the Twitch Primes and all the bits you guys showered down on me today. DJ unloading all his bits. DJ from the Talos of Space podcast. And I appreciate you all for tuning in. And I also, before I forget, I almost forgot. Okay, I want to give a huge, big old shout out. I've given a shout out to him before, but I'm going to do it again because he's worth it. Nathan Cully, sorry if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, but he has been making all of the Twitch stream thumbnails that go up on the Talos of Tech streams channel. And unfortunately, I won't be needing his services anymore once I switch to YouTube. So he'll have a break. He'll be officially retired from that position. But either way, he's done a great job, and I appreciate all the time he put into making those thumbnails. So that's his Twitter account if you want to send some love his way and just say thank you for making the thumbnails. And appreciate all the time he went in. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.